I think part of me believed that I wasn't good enough. I think that's what I genuinely thought in that moment. I believed that I was not good enough. So I caught myself shutting down, and part of me believed that I was not good enough. And I realized that this pattern keeps repeating, and it shows up when I see something in front of me or about myself that I don't like. And the moment I realized this was on my drive back home. This is when I really realized that every single time I see something that I don't like in front of me in my life or about me, I want to change it. I want to fix it. The capability that I'm building is to catch my shutdown early so that I don't start the creative process, my perfectionism process, when it's unnecessary, when it's not me, when I'm not triggering it, when I'm not activating it, when I'm not calling it forward intentionally by myself. Okay, now I'm going to go to what happened. Here's when things get interesting. Let's talk about what happened. So what happened was I was at work and I got this email from a colleague that basically was showing me the email he got from me 6 years ago. And this colleague is showing me that this is the email I sent to him 6 years ago when I was applying for the job where I work today. And it was an interesting email. So I went and looked at the email because I was curious. I didn't even remember what I was saying. When I looked at the email, of course, I liked some of the stuff that I saw about me, but there was a few things that I did not like. So I was positively surprised with the good things, but I was also negatively surprised with some of the things that were in that email. So the email was a trigger for me. It was a trigger because what I saw were the comments from different people about my high level of creativity and the ability to have a bird's eye view on what's going on and what's happening and create. So they were just concerned, and rightfully so. And they were asking themselves some questions about my abilities. So when I saw that part of the email, I shut down. I immediately shut down. I'll tell you why I shut down. I immediately started thinking about ways I can improve that particular area of my life. And the mistake that I was making in that moment that I know now, which is just a few days ago, was I didn't even ask for feedback if the concern that they had back in the day, 6 years ago, was something that they were seeing today. No, I didn't do that. I immediately went into creative mode, into perfectionism, creating systems. I immediately started creating systems that could help me improve that particular part of me. I wanted to create a system that would help me avoid falling into that trap of not being able to execute on a high level at a high pace on a day-to-day, because that was the concern 6 years ago, mind you, 6 years ago, and I'm reacting to it today. So who was I with at that moment? I was with nobody, because at that point, everybody already had left the office. I was just going through my last pieces of emails, and this was one of them that I still had to process. The thoughts that went through my mind, the first thought I had was, you haven't changed. You're still the same. I think I believed it. I really believed it because I started acting on it so much. I believed it 95%. Then I thought they might still have the same concern. They might still have the same concern today. Yeah, and I believe that 100%. And I also thought, I've got to do something about it. I've got to change it. Mind you, I don't think that in that moment I was realizing that I was reacting to an email that was written 6 years ago. Because my career has progressed. I must have done a few things right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. So what did I feel in that moment? I felt, was it anxiety? Was it fear? Was it shame? Was it guilt? Was it anger? Was it sadness? Was it numbness? Was it relief? Or other things? I think I felt 10% anxiety, 80% fear, and 10% shame. I recall and I remember feeling ashamed of that, weakness. I felt ashamed about that weakness that I had, that they spotted 6 years ago. In that moment, I was just reacting to a trigger in that moment. And I started immediately trying to bend my reality, who I am, creating systems in that moment. That was even before I got in the car. This is the moment I'm reading the email. I started creating systems and ways to better myself before I got into the car. This is late in the evening. I was just finishing up work, going through the last emails. I saw this one email. I read it. It triggered something in me. I thought, damn, I've got to change this about me. I have to change this. And then I went into my car. I will tell you more details about what happened in the car. But before I do that, I want to talk about what I usually do. I can create anything out of nothing, out of thin air, with a pretty good level of detail, but also with a lot of layers. I would go into this creative mode, and I would say the weakness that comes with it is I'll try to get it perfect. I will sometimes spend so much time on a tiny detail that most people would not even notice, but I feel like I've got to get it right. It can cost me a lot of energy, a lot of energy. Now, what do I realize now? There were compliments. There was a lot of compliments in that same email, but I kind of just skipped that part and focused on that one part where I felt like it was not good enough and I needed to do something about it. Was I judging myself harshly? Yeah, I was definitely judging myself harshly. Okay, so what happened after I finished reading the email and letting my mind just go all kinds of places? I went into my car. And on my drive back home, what happened? And right before I got into the car, something happened in my mind. I realized that I was not reacting the way that I wanted to react. On my walk to my car, I was like, am I really doing this? Maybe I'm overthinking this. Do I need to do this? Is this important? And then I got into my car and then I started to think. I was like, you know what? Let me think about this deeply. Why did I react this way? Why did I start to want to create things? Why did I want to create a system? Why did I want to absolutely avoid that they might still think that same thing about me? Why did I start to immediately react to something that I just saw was clearly 6 years ago? So I was asking myself this question. Why am I reacting this way? Why am I reacting to something that happened 6 years ago? Why am I not asking the right questions first? It's exhausting. Why are you reacting this way, Chris? And I got into my car and I said, let me think. I'm going to think. All right. And I started to think and ask myself the question, when did I start? When did I learn to want to bend reality and put things into being? I said to myself, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to think on my drive back home. I have a 1 hour drive from my work back home, and I'm going to take this time to think it through. So what I started to do, I went over every single year of my life from today as far back as I could, and I analyzed every single year. What event could possibly have triggered me? What event might have triggered me wanting to change reality? I was so intrigued by this question. I started looking at my life year by year. I started with the current year and I went back every year. And I was more specifically looking for the negative emotions and negative events that happened to me. I went back and I went back and I went back. And then I bumped into a year that changed everything. 2009. August 2009. This is the year that my mother died. And I remember what happened. And I remember one of my brothers call me and say, you need to come up. Dad wants to talk to you. And I need to stop there. And I need to stop there and explain to you what's going on. So at that time, my mother was ill for a little while and she was in the hospital. And so I don't know exactly why, but I had always believed that she would come back home. I'm not sure why, and I would even have dreams about it, that she would come back home. And so I was 1,000% convinced that my mother would come back home. So that was a little bit of context. So I walk out. My brother was there. I believe 2 of my brothers were there. My older sister was there, my dad. And so I remember my dad telling me, sit down. I need you to sit down. And I sat down, and then he broke down the news to me. And he said, your mother just died. And I can remember that I felt like my world was collapsing. I remember that I could not believe what I was hearing because there was a separation between what my world looked like and what reality was in that moment. There was such a big difference between what I believed to be real and what reality was presenting me. I remember that I was angry. I remember that I was sad. I remember that I had so many different emotions at once. but I also remembered that I wanted to change it. I wanted things to be different because I didn't see it coming. And I remember that I was angry at myself for not realizing that this was coming. I remember that I always wanted to learn to change things into the direction that I want. And I learned and I spent a lot of time developing the skill of creativity, how I could create more, how I can create better. And I've even gotten obsessed with the idea of creation and creating and putting things into reality. I developed a new skill, which was the ability to connect dots in an extreme way. Because I think as a protective mechanism, as a survival mechanism, because when my mother was ill, I couldn't in that moment connect the dots that she was not coming back home. I had a reality in my mind that I believed. And then a new reality presented itself to me. And I realized that I did not see it coming. I realized that I did not see things for what they were. And I never wanted to make that mistake again. And I never wanted to be someone that couldn't see the bigger picture. So I learned a new skill. I didn't know that that's when it started. My trigger is when I see something that I don't like and I want to change it. In the same way I saw something in that day, my mother died. When they told me the news and developed the skill to see details, I developed perfectionism to not miss the details. I'm gonna leave it there for now because there's a whole lot more work that I need to do. There's a whole lot more work that I need to do to figure this out, get better, learn to do better. And I'll take my time, I'm building myself honestly, and I'm facing my hardest inner battles with truth and courage. And I share what helps me win. And I'm building a club for those who want to do the same. Join the club. My name is Chris Kasonga. Keep living an empowered life.